From Lexington, Kentucky, it is coverage tonight of the USL Super League here on Peacock. From Lexington Stadium, it's Lexington Sporting Club against top-of-the-table Brooklyn FC. Sean St. Jacques and the Hall of Famer Christine Huber, happy to have you with us. It's all brought to you by Central Bank. As we look at the USL Super League standings, Brooklyn riding high at the top of the table, hoping to make it an 8th victory in the USL Super League if they can come out with all 3 points tonight. For Lexington, yes, they're bottom of the table, but Coach Mike Dickey told us earlier this week he feels his team is about to turn a corner. Last time that these two teams met, Christine, it was very tight, but Brooklyn came out with a 1-0 victory.
They sure did. Lexington just unable to keep possession, and you see Cox scoring this wide open goal from the cross in from George. Brooklyn had so many chances, but in the end, it was Cox who was the one to finish.
This was around the time where Brooklyn were sort of turning the corner in the USL Super League. And of course, they've been one of the best home teams in the league so far this season. But we look at the defensive stats for these two teams, and they tell very different stories. Brooklyn riding high, Lexington figuring things out.
Lexington sure is. They've scored a lot of goals, but unfortunately, they've conceded a lot of goals. Coach Dickey told us they need to focus, they need to concentrate, they need to put a full 90 minutes together.
Yeah, 5 clean sheets for Jess Silva's side and just 8 goals conceded. That's the best in the league, so Maddie Parsons is going to have her hands full tonight.
She's going to have to step up. She's the catalyst for this offense. Absolutely relentless, knows for the goal, and she knows how to score.
9 goal contributions from Maddie Parsons so far this season, but not to be outdone, the red-hot player in the league right now is Luana Grabias for Brooklyn.
Fastest hat trick in USL League history. She's passionate, she feels the game, she has fun, and she loves to score on her left foot.
Incredible performance last time out, leading Brooklyn to that victory at DC Power. And again, fastest league hat trick to date in the USL Super League's history. All of it came in the first half last time out. Some brilliance from the Brazilian. We're excited to bring this brilliant matchup to you here on Peacock tonight. Lexington looking for their first home win in the Super League. Brooklyn hoping to get a stranglehold even firmer on the top of the table. Kickoff from Kentucky is next.
We live with you, build with you, grow up with you, and dream with you. At Central Bank, we belong to the same communities you do. You're our neighbors, friends, and business partners. And through the relationships we build with you every day, we consistently serve you better. That's what highly personal banking is all about. We start with you.
UK Healthcare Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine offers comprehensive treatments for bone, joint, and muscle disorders and injuries of all types, from complex repairs to complete replacements. UKHealthcare.com, the power of advanced medicine.
The atmosphere is going to be amazing. The stadium is incredible, and you're going to be watching the highest level of professional women's soccer.
This is just something Lexington hasn't had yet, and we can't wait to be a part of this for years to come.
New flavors, the same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador, spiked bebidas.
Once the game kicks off, the hype doesn't matter anymore. Your follower count means nothing. Your resume is irrelevant. What matters is the moment, the game, the crest on the front of your jersey, the people you play for. Are you going to make history? Are you going to save the day? Are you going to score a hat trick, break some ankles, or give a kid the thrill of a lifetime? This is what the movement is all about. These moments that matter. The USL Super League.
Sean St. Jacques, Christine Huber, our entire crew, happy to have you with us here in Lexington, Kentucky for USL Super League action on Peacock. Lexington and Brooklyn for the second time this season getting set to do battle here at the Lexington Sporting Club Stadium. And Well, Christine, we dive into the starting lineup, starting with Lexington, and of course a look in that midfield.
Yeah, and McGuire right now playing up top for Amanda Allen, who's not in the lineup at all tonight. And that midfield, like you just touched base on, Weeks is going to play a little higher. She's going to look to feed those front three of Richardson, Parsons, and now McGuire up there.
Yeah, Mike Dickey's side in search of a first home win on their slate. Of course, have a couple of home fixtures before the break taking us into the holidays. And for Brooklyn, an incredible run of form that they've been on coming into this game. 4 wins on the bounce, but they do make a goalkeeping change tonight.
Big change tonight. Purcell back in for Martinez. We've seen Purcell play a bit today. She actually played against Lexington the last time, so let's see what happens there. And then the focus here, Kroger's actually going to drop in a little bit. That's that defensive triangle right there. Hill, Pantuso, and Kroger. Let's see what they can do and see if they can stop Lexington.
We highlighted it in the open. Just 8 goals conceded by Brooklyn's defense so far in the Super League. That's the fewest in the league, and they have the second most clean sheets in the league with 5 under the tutelage of Jess Silva. Chance to not only make it 5 wins in a row, but Brooklyn have a chance to get their 8th victory, which would take them up to 26 points in the USL Super League table. And with just 1 game remaining for most teams before the break, they could get a lot of momentum going into the winter break if they can get 3 points in Lexington tonight.
And this is a team where I think is just getting better and better. They have the stars, they have the studs, they have the goal scorers. They can still be better, right? Coach Jeff Silver says 1% better every single day.
On the other side of things, Mike Dickey didn't mince words with us earlier in the week. The defensive side of the game is still a work in progress, but he told us he feels like overall performance-wise, they're very close to turning a corner. Last few results have been losses at times. They had the draw last time out back in November, but they've been close.
Been close, but not close enough, right? That lack of concentration, they need to remain disciplined. He says they're putting a game together of 80 minutes, but unfortunately, the game is 90 minutes. And those mental errors, those mental mistakes, I think have really cost them games this season.
Well, the good news is that Santa's elves are in attendance. We've been told there might be a Grinch sighting as well for this one. It is a green theme. There's no surprise there here in Lexington tonight. Will there be presents underneath the Lexington tree, or will it be another lump of coal for Mike Dickey's side tonight? Brooklyn are certainly not here to mess around with a couple of games to go before the big holiday break. And again, the last time these two met, back at the end of September, very close game throughout. But Brooklyn, that fortress that they're building in New York, they've continued to do well at home. They won it by 1-0. And the rematch is underway with Lexington in green going from right to left here on Peacock. And of course, Brooklyn are in those road grays. Sean St. Jacques, Christine Huber, our entire crew, thrilled to have you with us, and also thrilled to see how this one's going to play out tonight.
Should be a good one. Both teams kind of focusing on possession today. They want to keep the ball. We'll see which one comes out better, which one has the better team tactics today.
A little bit of an awkward moment for Brooklyn defensively. Don't see too many of those. But Purcell is there, able to clear it out of danger, and it's a Lexington throw on the near side. Lexington trying to force the issue early, sending some numbers to overload this near side, and Brooklyn tried to clear it, not able to do so successfully. Picked up by Hannah Richardson initially on this near side. And the ball through is going to find its way inside the Brooklyn penalty area for Purcell to catch and control, I should say.
Lexington today, I think it has to be really aggressive defensively. They want to stay nice and compact, nice and narrow, and Brooklyn, it may actually feed into their game plan a little bit. They want to play the flanks like we're seeing here. They want to switch the field as much as possible to open up that Lexington defense.
We were talking a little bit before we came on the air. Emily Yapel, Luana Gravias, Mackenzie George. That's going to be a tough front three for any team to deal with, much less a Lexington team that's still trying to figure things out in the defensive third. This is going to roll all the way through for Sarah Cox to control for Lexington Sporting Club. I just mentioned it earlier, 4 wins in a row for Brooklyn. They've outscored their opponents during that run by 9-2. As the referee is going to stop the play here, it's going to be a free kick, it looks like, for Lexington. Trevor Wiseman is our head official tonight. For Lexington, it's the exact opposite. 4 games without a win. They got the draw last time out against Spokane. That late goal from Mary Kate McGuire was a huge, huge moment. 86th minute to salvage a point for Mike Dickey's group. And again, that was back in middle of November. These two teams have had a little bit of a break from the Super League. Clearance there. Lexington trying to swarm again. This time Brooklyn able to slow things down through Mackenzie Pluck. Another player who's had a very strong season to this point.
Almost a dangerous square ball there, right outside of the box.
That is going to be one of the interesting parts about this game tonight. Purcell, and well, how quickly can she get up to speed again, really?
Yeah, I mean, she's done a good job filling in so far. The games that she's played, and again, she played the last time they faced each other, so they kind of know each other. They know the players.
It's Purcell's 4th appearance / start of the season. Of course, goalkeepers are called upon for communication, facilitation, things in the back line. And, well, Mike Dickey will hope to take advantage of some of that.
You see exactly how cold it is out there, right? I mean, that's a little bit of a game change in tactics, right? That ball's a little harder. It's not going to float. You can even tell just by that cross in there, that pass. The ball's going to be hard. It's not going to be a nice, soft, floating ball into the air.
And the young shin with the clearance there. There's a look at Jess Silva, who again is happy but not satisfied. This Brooklyn team continues to try to be as hungry as any in the USL Super League, and could put themselves in a tremendous position if they can get some points out of these next 2 games and try to continue to put a stranglehold on first place in the table. First time ball into the penalty area is cleared, not definitively cleared, and a shot from the edge is going to be comfortable for Cox off the boot of Sam Kroger.
You can just tell how hard that ball is, right, when it leaves their foot. Again, it's an adjustment. Both teams are going to have to deal with it today. That ball is just going to be hard as a rock.
Last time we checked, it's 36 degrees Fahrenheit in Lexington tonight. Feels like 25 with some of that wind chill. And it could be an opportunity here for Lexington, but it's, well, swept away by Leah Scarpelli, and I think the aid of the assistant's flag ends the sequence.
You see that pressure that Autumn Weeks brings in the midfield. I mean, such a presence. She's able to just nip the ball off of Brooklyn's feet and just causes so much chaos there in the middle.
Well, first 5 minutes or so, Lexington are starting their stuff with this pressure, making it tough on Brooklyn. That's something Mike Dickey harped on to us, continuing to try to make life difficult on the opponent. They don't want to get away from that. They're trying to continue to build and improve on that. Controlled here by George for Brooklyn. That was nearly slithered through by Pluck. Lexington handled the situation for a moment, but then the ball is given away. Clip to the edge of the penalty area. Grabias scored that incredible hat trick against DC last time out. This is Pluck. Pluck to the near side for George. Decent ball into the middle. Cox may have just gotten enough onto that to touch it out of harm's way.
Great read by Cox, coming out with both fists, able to clear this ball high and wide. A dangerous cross in for Brooklyn, but Cox able to dominate the box right there.
Oh, there was a lot of traffic in that 6-yard box. Sarah Cox does the job for Lexington.
And she made the correct decision not catching it. Too much traffic to catch the ball. Great decision to punch it out.
Good pressure here from George in Brooklyn. Where can they go from here as Lexington are able to pin them to this near touchline and actually get the throw-in decision at the end? And now Brooklyn trying to do the same thing that Lexington was doing to them, and they win the ball right back again through Kroger. And Kroger recycles the attack. Purcell for Pantuso. We talked with Jess Silva, obviously, about Luana Grabias and the great attack, but she immediately highlighted the defense as well. And players like Scarpelli and Hill, Pantuso, all came up. What Kroger's brought to the table, it's been the bedrock of Brooklyn's success so far this season. It's on the attack here. It is cleared away by Claire Winter. You mentioned it earlier, Christine. It just seems like Brooklyners already rounding into form as a complete team. They're making the steps to get to where Jess Silva wants them to be.
And from all facets, right? All positions. Like you say, you mentioned the defense. That triangle, that defensive triangle is so strong in the back. But then you look at their forwards, they have so many different goal scorers, and it makes them tough to stop.
We talked about George and Grabias and Yapel. Didn't even mention Jess Garziano, and obviously what Mackenzie Pluck has been able to do so far this season as well. So many different contributors all over the pitch for the league leaders. It's a good take by Shane Moyer, another player that Mike Dickey highlighted as one of the harder workers in the group, a player that can help them get out of this rut that they've been in since their last win, which was back in October 19th in South Florida, 2-1 win over Fort Lauderdale when Maddie Parsons scored both of the goals.
You can see those unforced turnovers that Lexington is having, and that's costly mistakes that Coach Dickey does not want to have today.
Winter looks to bring Lexington forward on this far side. Parsons continued the run after starting the sequence, but Purcell is able to get on the end of it. That gives us a chance to look at tonight's injury report. It's brought to you by UK Healthcare, and there's quite a few notables on both sides, although I must say one name that wasn't on that list that we were a bit surprised not to see also was Amanda Allen, who's absent tonight for Lexington. Of course, was on the team of the month for the league month of November.
We never really got a reasoning why or what's going on, but I'm sure Coach Dickey has his reasons for it. But yeah, player of the month, or on the team of the month, and she had a great month even though they were unable to pull off a win.
Here's Purcell, another player who we weren't necessarily expecting to see tonight, but she fields her position well. And Lexington from the throw, work it quickly with Mackin. Oh, and she hits the post. Goodness gracious.
What a strike.
Caught just about everybody out, but couldn't quite bend it in. What an attempt that was.
And a good eye, too, because Purcell did not have the right positioning after she just came out to clear that ball, came out of the box, unable to get back. It was almost like she was lost of where the goal was. And that's inches from a goal.
And take nothing away from the technique as well. My goodness.
If that's not a wake-up call for Brooklyn, I don't know what is. Literally ringing off the post.
And that comes after what was starting to be a Brooklyn positive spell. Lexington nearly scoring the first goal of the match, and what a goal it would have been. Oh, Grabias, meanwhile, it's a lovely turn. Not many that can stop her at the moment, and she's stopped. It's a free kick. Well, here's another look at this near finish by Mackin.
Just bending, just a knuckleball. And maybe that's a little bit to do with the ball and the cold as well, because that just knuckles in and hits the post.
We were talking earlier, it's going to be tough to strike the ball. Well, no trouble there for Mackin.
Yeah, she made it look easy.
Still pushing a chase down the far sideline there by Mary Kate McGuire, who was the hero last time out for Lexington back on November 13th. Scored some timely goals. Mike Dickey multiple times this season has waxed lyrical about her impact. 4 league goals. Only Sydney Shepard and Maddie Parsons have that many or more for Lexington in the Super League to this point in the season. But it's Brooklyn bringing it forward here. This is Mackenzie George. George goes for goal and finds it. That is a magnificent finish from Mackenzie George. It's her third Super League goal of the season. And Brooklyn jumps out in front here in Kentucky.
Mackenzie George with plenty of time, plenty of space. I thought she was going to dish it out to the right. That's normally what she does, right? She's normally the one sending the balls in, but instead, she decides to take it on her own and almost just lofts it into the back of the net.
A fifth goal contribution of the season. She did have the option to pass, but my goodness, what a shot.
And that's tough as a goalkeeper, right? It's going through your defender's legs. You just see it last minute. So hard to react.
3 goals on top of 2 assists for Mackenzie George. And talk about a seesaw couple of minutes there. Lexington hit the post at one end. Brooklyn score right up the other end. And it's the 28th goal that Lexington have conceded this season. That was a goal of real quality, it should be mentioned. But that is still a number hanging over this Lexington defense.
But that's the type of thing, right, that Coach Dickey's talking about. That ball was able to get through and go through the midfield, right? And here you have 2 Lexington defenders. Was she close enough? I mean, obviously we were looking back and we'd say no, but really it's George being shifty on the ball, which causes the defense to go back and opens up that space for her to get a shot off.
Mackenzie George continues to impress for this impressive Brooklyn outfit. And just taking a look off screen, of course, at the live table, and again, a win for Brooklyn would put them 5 points clear at the top of the USL Super League, with still a game to go before the break. Now they're starting to create some distance between themselves and the likes of Carolina Ascent, who are still looming. Dallas, who have a couple of games to get to as well before the break on top of that. And Lexington looking for an immediate reply, and it's headed away by Sasha Pickard. Just in the nick of time. Shepard picks it back up for a Lexington recycle. Winter up ahead. It's touched out to the far side and helped along by Shin. Parsons on the edge of the penalty area, crossing it into the middle. Purcell catches.
Lexington's not looking bad. They're taking players on. They're beating players one-on-one. Just unable to get wide open shots on goal.
And the pressure continues from this Lexington side, and it works a treat again. Another miscued clearance. And Lexington have a short field to work with on this near side. Richardson for Winter. Could open up here for Claire Winter. She will let it go. Oh, and it was bending back towards that far stick. Purcell may have had that covered. It's a goal kick.
Winter is certainly not one to shy away from shooting. She'll take this outside shot as we see here, and Coach Dickey's always been high on her. He actually coached her in the U.S. national team system as well, so was excited when he was able to sign her onto the team.
Well, certainly it's been a good Lexington response since the George opener. Challenge comes in there. It's a free kick for Brooklyn. Again, there is one other game that's about to kick off in the Super League tonight. Fort Lauderdale against Spokane. When that game kicks off, we'll keep you up to date on anything happening there as well. Another game you can watch here on Peacock in the USL Super League tonight. Not too shabby for an early winter double dip.
You're not going to be dipping in this cold weather, I'll tell you that much.
Not for long.
Be a polar plunge at that point.
Well, throw-in will be taken here by Pickard. Brooklyn have handled all the punches that Lexington have thrown their way. Brooklyn continuing to move it through the heart here. Now George on the near side. Good step defensively to get it back for Lexington. Near side Richardson, though, is dispossessed by Pickard.
And another unnecessary turnover, right? They do a good job defensively. They step up, win that ball, and then teammates not talking to her. There's a girl right behind her, Brooklyn player, to take the ball right from her.
Here's George. This is where she likes to operate on this near side. Pluck ends up apologizing for that, but it's going to stay with Brooklyn on the near side. Jess Silva always tinkering, always asking for more from her group, but that's what the best teams do. They always seem to have those characteristics. Brooklyn's certainly a team that doesn't want to settle for just first place. They want to build on that lead at the top of the table.
I love Jess Silva's coaching philosophy. They have their principles, they have their methodology, but then it's free-flowing after that, right? The George goal is a perfect example. Many options, and she never punishes her player, but gives them other options and gives them the confidence to go at the goal and take those type of shots.
Yeah, Jess Silva talked about how she feels that helps with decision-making processes with her players, and like you rightly said, Christine, that Mackenzie George goal was case and point. And they're going to get a set-piece opportunity here on the edge of the penalty area after the Shepard challenge.
Shepard not happy about that one. And in the first match between these two, we saw a lot of free kicks, direct kicks right from this same area. And it was interesting because Lexington did not mark up any of the players outside the wall. And I spoke to Jess Silva after the game, and she was like, we just didn't recognize the open players. We just didn't see it in time in real gameplay to adjust to it. So let's see what happens today, if Lexington's going to mark up or if Brooklyn's going to be able to play that short game and get a quick shot off.
Jess Silva also talked to us about how they had been tinkering with set pieces for quite some time earlier in the season. We'll see what they have in their bag of tricks here, although Sam Kroger's a heck of a striker of the ball. This is certainly within her range. Brooklyn players are queuing up inside the penalty area. Kroger sees her cross blocked away initially, tries to reset, but Lexington are all over it, and they have a chance to break here. That's a really good step defensively. Looked like it was Pickard who was able to clean that up and stop any transitional moves.
A good defensive stop by Lexington there, as we see Mackin taking a hard hit. And in this cold, those hits hurt 10 times more.
Mackin hit the post earlier, and should mention good refereeing to spot that and stop it immediately just to make sure Mackin was okay. And Mike Dickey and his staff are having a few words of discussion just in case. This is the look.
That's just a knee-to-knee, hard hit. And like I said, it's just so much more painful in this cold weather.
Well, good to see Mackin back up onto her feet. Mike Dickey and his staff look on as Mackin will, it looks like, put the ball back into play as well. Lexington in search of a reply after the great finish back in the 13th minute by Mackenzie George put Brooklyn ahead. And the visitors are looking for more here. This is Pluck. Grabias is able to keep this in play for George. George's first time ball in is headed to the edge and flicked along by Shepard. Pickard back in, headed away. And Lexington will run Brooklyn back to the halfway line. Pantuso sees it cut out. And then helped along for Richardson. Moyer Able to find Shepard, and Lexington are, in the end, able to alleviate the pressure, at least for the moment.
Let's see if Lexington can keep possession here or not. Right, but that's an ill-advised pass, right? Her teammate was not making that run, so they just have to connect a little better. Lexington has had issues connecting the lines, right? Defenders to midfielders, midfielders to forwards, and in that case, defenders to forward. There's just no connections whatsoever.
It's going to be a foul and a free kick going Lexington's way. Well, in the aftermath of both Hurricanes Helene and Milton, the USL has partnered with United Way Suncoast to help the Tampa Bay area recover from the devastation the storm left behind. To learn how you can get more involved, scan the QR code or visit www.uslsoccer.com/Milton to ensure individuals and families have the access to the resources they need to recover.
High pressure right now by Lexington.
And it does lead to a turnover. Shepard from Moyer. This is the possession you wanted to see, Christine. Let's see if they can turn it into something. Mackin is going to settle for a throw. Maybe one or two of those moments of what Mike Dickey called a lack of concentration, sometimes a lack of discipline, not just defensively. In this case, we could apply a little bit of that to the possession, but Lexington make good work of it here, and they could create something from this. Quick throw in by Mackin. Lovely footwork by Parsons. And the catch by Purcell.
Great pullback move by Parsons there. Starting on her right, pulling it back to her left for a shot, but just not enough. And this is, we're obviously talking about Lexington and their defensive woes, we'll say, how many goals they've conceded. This team knows how to score. They can score goals. I was surprised that they did not get 2 goals this game, but are they going to hold Brooklyn to the 1 goal that they've already scored is the question.
Some first-time passing here. Ooh, and the shot by Richardson was blocked on the edge of the penalty area. Winter wasn't afraid to shoot earlier. This time couldn't quite get the pass right, and Brooklyn emerges with possession. After it pinballs around a bit, Brooklyn can continue to move it forward with Mackenzie Plock.
They get this switch here, they're going to be numbers up.
Garziano leads the break. A step over or two, and then was she tripped up on the edge of the penalty area? Referee had a look at it, says play on. Well, off camera, there was a bit of a wry smile there from Jess Silva, maybe not convinced. Lexington survived the counterattack.
And I think Brooklyn could have even moved faster on that counterattack, right? It took them a few seconds to get that ball over to the flank, to the opposite side, the top side of your screen, where it should have been done right away, and they would have been numbers up.
A chance for Richardson here, but the offside flag is up, and the attack fizzles out for Lexington. As Mike Dickey looks on, we could talk to you about cheers to local beer. West 6th Brewing is proud to be the official craft beer of Lexington Sporting Club. Find their locally crafted beers all around the state of Kentucky, and the flagship West 6th IPA to Sixer Light Lager. There's something for everyone. Head to west6.com to visit one of their dynamic tap rooms and learn more about Stadium Ale, the official craft beer of Lexington SC.
Cheers to that. Brooklyn certainly in no rush right now. They have the 1-0 lead. They're fine taking as much possession and taking the air out of the ball.
That's the other part of the thing that Brooklyn are very good at, which is controlling the tempo in a game. Lexington's turn to try to play their way out of the back. It does lead to a Brooklyn takeaway. Niku Purcell's going to reset for the visitors. He's been called upon once or twice, although she has had a little bit of trouble with distribution tonight, and that's the latest example.
Let's see if Lexington can take advantage of it now.
Moyer for Shepard. Does have 4 goals for Lexington this season. It's been wonderful on set pieces, but does give the ball away there. It could be a chance for Brooklyn. The break could be on here with Mackenzie George picking her head up and does get the pass away, but Gravias wasn't on the same page. Getting it back, I should say, for Lexington is Moyer.
Little miscommunication on the Brooklyn side there. I think Gravias was zigging and she should have been zagging. For the Lexington side, though, they need to keep possession and they need to connect the lines a little more, right? We keep seeing Shepard just kind of send it up. We're beyond that, right? These are some of the best professionals playing in the world right now. Work it into your midfielders first, then wait and get it up to your forwards.
Great touch by Winter, who shoots. And it's a possible head injury here. Good spot by the referee. And we'll have an injury stoppage here. That was Allison Pantuso who blocked that. And the Brooklyn medical staff will have a look. That was a brief chance again for Claire Winter on the edge of the penalty area. She continues to show her confidence for Lexington, but it's been Brooklyn recently who have been showing that confidence in front of goal, including tonight. They now outscored their opponents 10 goals to 2 for Jess Silva and her group. We were talking earlier about how Jess Silva loves to let the freedom reign in transition, and particularly in the attacking third, and it's led to good decision making.
Good decision making all around. They have so many quality goal scorers. Talking to Jess Silva, you know, one of the things we said, they're free footballers, right? I like to say Hakuna Matata. No worries, there's no pressure, there's no stress. Take your time and do what's fun, which is scoring and putting the ball in the back of the net.
Brooklyn hoping that it's no worries for the rest of the days as well.
Yes.
We'll have to wait and see on that. The Super League, of course, can be very tough to navigate, but Jess Silva's side not having too much trouble at the moment.
She claims she has nothing to do with the goal celebrations. That's what she claims, so I don't know. I think it's all the players that are doing it on their own without any coach's input, is from what I hear on the streets.
We did see a Mackenzie George goal celebration after she gave Brooklyn the lead 13 minutes in. Yapel got the assist, and Pantuso is going to be welcomed back onto the pitch here. That's great to see for Brooklyn. Again, she's another key cog in that defensive setup, and 14 minutes to go in the half with Brooklyn in possession and with a hold on the lead as well. Again, Sean St. Jacques, Christine Huber, our entire crew, happy to have you with us on Peacock. Lots of positives, I think, for both teams to take, but I'm sure Mike Dickey's getting tired of hearing about the positives and does want to start getting the results going the way as well, with Brooklyn ahead here.
And since we're only in the first half, we wonder, right? How long is Lexington going to keep this up? They are playing well. They're knocking the ball about. They're not getting as many chances, a little too many turnovers for my liking, but they're not playing bad football.
Here is Grabias, who, of course, only had one Super League goal before that performance against the DC Power last time out back in November, and then, of course, scored that incredible hat trick in, well, dare I say, triple quick time in that first half. And, of course, she's been the talk of the town ever since.
Been a little quiet today, but what she's going to have to realize, teams are going to be focusing on her. Every time she has the ball, there's going to be 1 or 2 defenders on her. You don't just score a hat trick in 14 minutes and go unnoticed.
Jess Silva joked with us that the Brazilian is still getting accustomed to the weather, but the stats would tell you she's doing rather well at the moment.
In this cold weather, it's probably just going to make her move even more.
Brooklyn forced to fully reset this attack. Pantuso played in. Grabias comes back to get it for Brooklyn. And it is kept in play by Pickard. Garziano gives chase, and Cox will clear. And Grabias is upended, and she's fouled by Winter. Referee gives Brooklyn the free kick.
This is just two players going hard for this ball. And it's one of those, is it a block or is it a charge type calls, right? Are you going up for the ball? I kind of always like to look at their eyes, right? Both of them looking at the ball. I feel like Grabias had better positioning for it as she was going up, and Winter just ducking out of it.
Yeah, to your point, it's always one of those decisions where it feels like both parties aren't necessarily happy with the outcome of the referee's choice there.
But a little too much contact to let it slide.
Yeah. But again, Brooklyn put in a good position here with a set-piece opportunity. They're still talking it over, Kroger and Pluck. Kroger just passes it to the edge of the penalty area, and a poor touch allows Lexington to clear it.
I don't think that went as planned. That was definitely not designed. It's supposed to be a short ball, and then I think another player was supposed to run off of it for a shorter 1-2.
Garziano still able to lead Brooklyn forward here. Able to elude Winter. And then a long distance shot hits the top of the frame. Cox still has work to do and is able to corral it. Wow. Second time we've had a long distance shot hit the woodwork.
Long distance is right. I mean, look at that. That just hits the upper 90, the crossbar and the post at one time. And I tell you, Cox is lucky that did not sink in.
I think that was Leah Scarpelli testing the distance there. Almost shot it from a different area code. It's given Brooklyn even more confidence here on the ball, but they do end up giving that away, shepherded out for a throw-in by McGuire. We had the attempt earlier in the half off the boot of Julie Mackin for Lexington. That one was from even further out.
It was almost like Cox wasn't sure how to time it and when it was coming down.
There was that brief moment, wasn't there, where Cox maybe wasn't too sure where the ball was going to end up, and she got a favorable bounce as it hit the surface.
It almost then spun into the goal, so lucky she was paying attention.
Well, 9 minutes plus stoppage time to go in the half. Be sure to turn into the USL Super League's fall finale. Watch all 8 clubs in action one last time before the new year. All happening December 14th, all exclusively here on NBC's Peacock Network. Now, there's surely going to be more twists and turns in these next couple of weeks. Already had a few here in this first half. Shin for Parsons. Back to Shin. And Shin sends it out of play.
That's a good setup, though. That's a good combo play right there. Posting up this Brooklyn defense and then trying to do a 1-2. At least they're getting some combos going.
And the young Shin really shined in the early parts of the season with her defensive setup for Lexington. Has certainly been one of the bright stars at times for Mike Dickey's group this season. Also, just another example there of a defender able to get involved in the attack and help create something. We've seen that as one of the themes of this inaugural season in the Super League so far. A lot of teams have players that can do it on both ends.
Shin definitely one who likes to fly up the flank.
Moyer out to the far side to find Nayoung Shin. And Shin had the right idea, tried to bend it forward, but into traffic. Winter picks up the pieces here and is able to find Richardson. Richardson will shoot. And Purcell makes a pretty comfortable stop.
Not a bad build-up there by Lexington. Again, it was almost a turnover after that long ball, defender to forward, but they were able to capitalize on it and have Richardson get a shot.
Here is George, the goal scorer for Brooklyn. Again, Brooklyn trying to clear it through this pressure, but Grabias is swarmed. So is Pluck. And did she maybe take some of Mackin along with her? Oh, it's gonna go the other way. In the end, Mackin is deemed to be the guilty party. It's a Brooklyn free kick.
Interesting call here, because it seems like it should be the other way, and Mackin should be the one getting the free kick. She was the one who was ahead of the ball, so interesting call there. Not sure the home crowd is gonna like that.
You wonder if Trevor Wiseman maybe didn't get the best view of that. We have a couple of replays to help us out in that regard. His angle maybe told a slightly different story, even though from our vantage point, it did look like Mackin was able to win it cleanly. Coming together there, a couple of challenges there, and this time Lexington get the decision. Free kick for the hosts.
A lot of bodies down on the ground right now. And again, just with this cold weather, right, every single hit just magnifies whether it's a tackle from behind, whether the ball is hitting your cold skin. It just hurts so much more when it's 25 degrees.
Ended up being good defensive work at the heart of that from Shane Moyer. Oh, and did the referee maybe hand out a card there? Await confirmation on that. Normally the pen hitting the paper of the referee's book would indicate that. When we get confirmation on that, we will pass it along. And they pass it along here to Grabias for Brooklyn, and Grabias will shoot. But Sarah Cox is able to easily scoop that up.
Love how Grabias uses her body, right? Shields the defender away from the ball. As the ball passes her feet, then she can accelerate onto it.
That yellow card that we just hinted at there was given to Leah Scarpelli for the foul on the back end of that sequence that allowed Lexington to get the free kick. So first yellow card of the night goes Scarpelli's way for Brooklyn. Still time for a late bit of momentum to shift one way or the other at the end of this half, and that's a pass that's gonna come up short, and Mackin picks it off for Lexington. Still Julie Mackin. And she follows up in the end, but it's gonna be a goal kick. You feel that Lexington just needs something to break their way, and Mackin tried to provide it. Grabias putting the pressure on Shepard. And Madison Perez and company, now Moyer. Looking to pass their way through here. Winter. Able to poke that ahead, and there's more green shirts there for company. The last time these two met, Brooklyn scored in the 47th minute and were able to hold on to a 1-0 victory. So far in the rematch, the only thing in the script that changed was the time of the Brooklyn goal.
And George was involved in both of them, right?
Yep.
She had the assist to Cox the first time they played, and then today she gets the goal.
Lexington continuing to make it difficult on Purcell to play out. But that touch allows Brooklyn to move it down this near side with Pluck. George to her left, and Pluck tried to cut it inside, and Mackin was there to recover. It stays with Brooklyn. We talked earlier about Fort Lauderdale and Spokane. They kicked off about 20 minutes ago. Fort Lauderdale have scored in that time. They have a 1-0 lead over Spokane in South Florida. We'll keep one eye on that one as this one progresses.
It's amazing with the 8 teams how 3 points, 1 win just jumps you up, or 0 points really puts you down.
Another reason to watch the fall finale. So much movement really could happen in the table just in the next couple of weeks. This will be Sam Kroger on a Brooklyn corner. It's right into the heart of the penalty area. Lexington don't definitively clear it yet. Scarpelli is just going to flick a boot at it, and Cox is there with 1 minute of normal time to go in the half. Scarpelli hasn't scored yet for Brooklyn, but she's had a couple of chances in this first half. Just in front of Jess Silva, it is going to be a Brooklyn throw as we tick down towards first half injury time. Pantuso back to Purcell. Hill. And Pantuso. Can Brooklyn double their lead before the end of the half? George. Too many green shirts around. And the free kick will go Lexington's way as we jump into 2 added minutes at the end of the half.
2 minutes of added time in the first half.
A little too much follow through there for George. Her touch got out away from her feet there.
You hinted earlier, Christine, in moments like that, Lexington have to take advantage. Even off camera, Mike Dickey not thrilled with some of the decision making there. It ends up being filed under missed opportunity again to try to make something happen for Lexington.
It's the same story Lexington has had all season long. Great players. I think Coach Dickey's doing a good job with his tactics, but just unable to keep possession, and especially in quality times. They're not able to take advantage when they do something right defensively. They can't counterattack because they just tend to lose the ball.
Again, we have hinted at the table, at least the top half. At the bottom of the table, and Lexington would still be sitting on 9 points. They'd get a little bit of help from Fort Lauderdale. Spokane would still be within touching distance at the bottom of the table if Fort Lauderdale United can hold on to their result. There's still time for Lexington here at the end of the half. And a shot does come in, but Purcell is able to read it and make the catch.
MK McGuire right here. She loves to take players on, does a good job attacking that front foot, getting a left-footed shot off, but just not quite enough heat behind that shot.
Final seconds of the half. Lexington trying to force the issue here. Pressure from Winter. And that will end the half here in Lexington. Mackenzie George with a marvelous finish has put Brooklyn ahead as they look to make it 5 wins on the bounce in the USL Super League. And despite some Lexington positives, still plenty for Mike Dickey's side to sort out.
They have a few things to talk about at halftime. One thing has to be play the way you're facing. Don't force these passes. Take your time, work that ball around, and then the defense will open up and you'll see the holes and gaps.
Still a big 45 minutes to go here at Lexington Stadium in Lexington, Kentucky. hold on to your Christmas trees. The Grinch is taking this one in Kentucky tonight, but it's been all Brooklyn so far. Really strong start from Jess Silva's side, and Mackenzie George has provided the lone goal of the game so far. 1-0 at the break here on Peacock. We'll have plenty to come after the break.
New flavors. The same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador. Spiked bebidas.
Once the game kicks off, the hype doesn't matter anymore. Your follower count means nothing. Your resume is irrelevant. What matters is the moment, the game, the crest on the front of your jersey, the people you play for. Are you going to make history? Are you going to save the day? Are you going to score a hat trick, break some ankles, or give a kid the thrill of a lifetime? This is what the movement is all about. These moments that matter. The USL Super League.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Lexington is the Kentuckiest place in the world. Just look at it. It's by far the bluegrassiest, the bourbonist. See? The artsiest, and hands down, the horsiest. Oh, look, that one has a baby. I don't know why you would look anywhere else. Looking for the coolest, most Kentuckiest getaway? Look at Lexington.
Race to the top.
You're on.
It's time to power up your old checking account. That's why Commonwealth Credit Union created Power Checking. This incredible all-in-one account powers your spending, and with built-in high-yield savings, grows your balance at the same time. No minimums, no limits, just unparalleled benefits.
Raise it back down.
So kick it up a notch with Power Checking, only from Commonwealth Credit Union, the official credit union of Lexington SC.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Sean St. Jacques, Christine Huber back here with you at the half. It's Lexington 0, Brooklyn 1 here on Peacock in the USL Super League. Still a big second half to come. We'll see how that impacts how this one plays out here in Kentucky today. But first and foremost, let's look around the USL Super League with our news and notes. And, well, we've had a lot of players that have shined so far this season, and certainly Dallas Trinity's Sam Meza should fit right in there.
She's shining them all, outshining them all. I mean, such a shifty player. She loves dribbling at players, but she's also good at combining as well. She is a tough one to stop.
Of course, Addie McCain has been the table setter, not just for Fort Lauderdale, but has been the consistent leader in the Golden Boot race. Scored against Dallas last time out. Fort Lauderdale leading at the moment. We'll talk more about that in a second. And in our game, of course, Brooklyn looking to record its 5th consecutive win, an 8th win overall, and continue to try to put a stranglehold on the top of the table in the USL Super League. Really exciting to see how our second half is going to play out. And look at the schedule here, of course. We mentioned it. Fort Lauderdale leading in the other game. Dallas and Tampa Bay tomorrow.
Fighting for the middle of the pack of the standings, right? Fighting for who's going to end up in 3rd place. Only 8 teams in the league. 3 points becomes very important, especially with 2 weeks left.
And of course, all the games streaming on Peacock for the USL Super League all season long. Let's look now at some of the best from November in the USL Super League.
home, just really struggling here.
Here's Grabias looking for a first half hat trick. Grabias! 1, 2, 3, all in the first half. It's all Brooklyn. It's all Grabias.
Sealy Strawn, 17-year-old playing short for Meza. Meza, that one's looping towards goal. Oh my goodness!
Well, great stuff there from the month of November in the USL Super League, and had some good stuff already tonight. A Mackenzie George goal has Brooklyn ahead here in Lexington. We'll step aside for a moment here on Peacock. Highlights are coming up next. Welcome back to Lexington, everybody. Sean St. Jacques, Christine Huber here with you on Peacock. Good start for top of the table Brooklyn in the USL Super League tonight. But the Lexington home hopefuls will hope for a second half turnaround as they trail at the half by 1-0. Here's how we got there in our first half highlights. We begin with Lexington on the attack.
A lot of hitting the woodwork today. We've seen posts, we've seen crossbars. Brilliant shot right here, just knuckles in and hits the crossbar for Lexington.
Yeah, Julie Mackin nearly sneaking that one through, but Mackenzie George was able to provide the opener for Brooklyn just a few moments later.
Yapple sending a good ball through to George. George usually and sometimes will pass this ball off to the right as she had a runner, decides to take on two defenders, puts it through the legs of Mackin to get this goal.
Third goal of the season in the Super League, her fifth goal contribution in the Super League is the difference here. And, well, Jess Silva will enjoy another Brooklyn goal celebration there, and Brooklyn nearly added another.
Key up the Sellies. We didn't get one on this shot, though, but what a long-distance strike it was. Almost caught Cox out of the goal. Thankfully, that crossbar saved the day.
It was a rocket from Leah Scarpelli, and just had to read it a second time there, Sarah Cox, before coming up with the stop. Halftime stats look like this. Shots are leaning towards Lexington, but it's the quality chances that are leaning Brooklyn's way.
Brooklyn has had more of the quality chances, 100%. Lexington just unable to really keep their possession, keep the ball, and they're not taking advantage when they win the ball on the defensive end.
And you mentioned it earlier, Lexington in possession started well, but it hasn't continued.
Has not continued at all. So that's definitely some adjustments that Lexington is hopefully going to be making. I'm sure Coach Dickey is going to be making them halftime. Let's see what they can come out with.
Still a big second half to come. Lexington looking for their first home win in the USL Super League to send the fans here home happy. Brooklyn looking for their third road win and their 8th overall, try to keep their stranglehold on the top of the table. Take a quick break. Second half is coming up next. Sean St. Jacques, Christine Huber back here with you. About to get the second half started here on Peacock in the USL Super League. Lexington 0, Brooklyn 1 is the scoreline. Mackenzie George with a wonderful finish has put the league leaders ahead. And while everyone here in Lexington's trying to stay warm, we can look at the players that were really strong in the month of November, the team of the month in the USL Super League. Unfortunately, no Amanda Allen for Lexington tonight, but of course we can continue to wax lyrical about Luana Gravias.
She is getting so much attention, and deservingly so. You see tonight, Lexington's keeping the ball away from her as much as possible. When she does get it, they're trying to put the double on her. So it's important she moves a lot without the ball in order that she can get the ball.
Of course, you'll see Dallas tomorrow on Peacock. A couple players represented there, along with Sam Meza, who's been wonderful of late for the Trinity. And Luana Gravias was able to score that wonderful hat trick against DC last time out when Brooklyn played back on November 13th. But it's been Mackenzie George who's done the dirty work tonight and provided the lovely finish. And of course, Lexington have to go back to the drawing board at the start of the second half, and it looks like they have made a change at the start of the second half as well. It's going to be Emma Johnson coming on for Hannah Richardson for Mike Dickey's group.
So let's see what Emma Johnson's going to bring to the table here. See if she can get this energy up. Even though it's cold, see if she can get those lines connected. See if she can help them keep possession, maybe direct it. See if we get some more quality opportunity shots here for Lexington.
Yeah, we looked at the halftime stats just a few moments ago, and Lexington had their fair share of opportunities in that first half. Just like in the first meeting, they're right there with Brooklyn. But can they get over the hurdle and get back into the game? That becomes the big question mark as we are about to begin the second 45 minutes. Everyone trying to stay loose before the referee blows the whistle to start the second half. Not just Grabias, Purcell, everyone making sure that they are staying as warm as they possibly can. It's only going to get colder as this night moves along. And I think one of the issues here is that Luana Grabiasi's extra layer on her head, let's say, he's not allowed, so she'll hand that off to Jess Silva.
I don't blame her, but you cannot wear a ski mask while playing women's professional soccer. It's against the rules.
Gravias fittingly gets the second half started. Teams, of course, will switch sides for the second half. Brooklyn going from right to left here on Peacock. Lexington will defend the left-hand side of your screen in all green. The goal scorer, Mackenzie George, again tries to move Brooklyn forward here. She'll win a throw-in inside of 20 seconds. Again, if it holds, Brooklyn will have a 5-point lead at the top of the table in the Super League. Here, Owen Cox parries away that cross. Brooklyn nearly doubled their lead within the first second half minute.
You can see exactly why Cox gets save of the month, right? I mean, she just absolutely flies. She's not scared to leave her line. She's not scared to get out there and attack that ball. If she can't catch it, she's going to punch it, and that is definitely another example of that.
Kroger for Brooklyn. Ball is flashed onto this near side. It's a lovely initial control and the reverse ball from Scarpelli to Grabias. And Grabias tried to continue to move along here, but it is going to be a goal kick for Lexington in the end. Well, Mike Dickey's praised Sarah Cox and her instincts and her ability to do instead of think. Another great example of it here.
Such great reflexes right here. And again, that's not a catchable ball. So the only thing she can do is parry it out. And she has to parry out high and wide to keep it away from those Brooklyn players.
She had a save, I think it was against Spokane early in the season. That kick save off a deflection still could end up being the save of the season. She's just that talented. And like you talked about, not everyone has that kind of reaction skill in between the sticks.
It's just another top-level competitive athlete here in the Super League.
She's played in here from Shepherd. And this is where Lexington are going to have to improve in the second half. What can they do when they have the ball at their own feet?
And I'm okay with this right now. Be patient. Work this Brooklyn defense around a bit. Don't tell and show where you're going to pass the ball. Keep possession, wait for those gaps to open up, and then you can attack them.
No challenge there. It's a Lexington free kick. Played out wide by Madison Perez, who actually has 5 assists for Lexington so far this season, although I should say that many of those were on set pieces. They'll take nothing away from that stat. And again, George goes back to work on the far side, plays a lovely ball past 2 defenders to Grabias. Grabias, tried to get back on the return on the pass from Pluck. the attack ends there.
Not a bad idea from Brooklyn there. Looking to combo, unable to finish. Lexington did a good job getting numbers behind the ball on that counter. So you can look at this, right? What did Coach Dickey talk about at halftime? Be patient. Play simple, keep possession.
Maddie Parsons comes back to hold up the play for Lexington. Shepard onto the near side for Johnson. Johnson was able to help past two defenders, but then is out-muscled. I think it was by Scarpelli, and the decision goes Brooklyn's way. Or Scarps, as she's affectionately known by her Brooklyn teammates.
Another call this Lexington home fans are not happy about.
Hill up ahead. Some room here for Pantuso. And she is able to find Luana Grabias in acres of space here for Brooklyn. Grabias for George. George tried to feed it along for Pluck. It was cut out. Really a brilliant bit of Brooklyn build-up there. Comes back for Scarpelli. And her cross into the middle is headed away by Perez.
Excellent build-up by Brooklyn right now. Grabias has so much time and space. It's so dangerous.
Brooklyn's pressure nearly yields a giveaway, but Lexington can get it back in possession. Another moment where I'm sure Mike Dickey is thinking to himself, if there's any player that shouldn't have that time and space for Brooklyn.
He's probably banging his head a little bit, saying, this is what we discussed. Keep the ball away from her, shut her down immediately.
Winter from Moyer.
Lexington needs to get a switch here. They need to get that ball to the opposite flank.
Johnson is able to feed it ahead, and then the pass was intended for Parsons. But Scarpelli is all over it, and Parsons was offside. So that entire sequence ends up getting negated for Lexington.
A lot of wrongs, not a lot of rights there for Lexington.
Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Super League and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, of course, is the player's choice.
I couldn't imagine not playing with a Select ball in this type of cold weather.
Great
with the
point.
way it has, you know, the cushion itself, if you were playing with another ball, it would be so much harder on everyone's foot with every touch.
Especially on nights like this, going into the break, and we'll have a few of these coming out of the break. That's a really good point. Well, Johnson tried to fit a square peg into a round hole, and again, Brooklyn defensively gobble it up, and they get another free kick. I mean, this is classic Jess Silva, tactics defensively, and it's playing out really well from a Brooklyn point of view.
It's working exactly how she wrote it up, definitely. Her back triangle holding strong today. Ooh, not right there, though.
Well, as soon as we say that, Lexington do get the ball back. And Maddie Parsons goes to work, but Brooklyn are just about able to fend her off. That's one player that Brooklyn definitely do not want to see having the ball at her feet in and around the penalty area, and you just saw why.
She's so strong, and then on top of it, you put the pace she has with the ball at her feet. She is tough to stop, and she's dangerous.
This ball is clipped up ahead. Luana Gravias has a chance to get there, but Cox just a step quicker, clears it away. Oh, it's headed back towards Cox. Gravias, of course, in an offside position. Lexington settle it down. Mike Dickey has told us on multiple occasions this season, the likes of Sarah Cox and Maddie Parsons and other players, look through pretty much every roster in the USL Super League. A lot of these athletes could have gone and done something else. They could have gone to a different line of work, could have tried something else, but here they are, trying to continue this career in the USL Super League and shining on the big stage. It's been one of the really, really important but also impressive things about this maiden voyage that we've seen so far from the Super League.
And that's what I love about the Super League. It's giving so many women's soccer players more opportunities to play here, right? We've seen all the internationals and all the Americans that have gone to play overseas, but now they can come, and I love the stories where they're now playing in their home state and playing in front of their family and friends, something that they weren't able to do when they were playing overseas. There's just so many good soccer players here.
Mike Dickey, I think, was telling us a story a few weeks back about how Maddie Parsons briefly went back to California to help her family run their business, and then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, she's now the focal point of a Lexington attack in the USL Super League. Just one of the many stories you'll hear from players on just about every roster, if not every roster, that the Super League has to offer. And in the meantime, Brooklyn are back on the prowl looking for another goal, with Kroger setting up the corner. 10 minutes into the second half. Kroger plays it short, and the ball into the penalty area is sent into the seats. Well, every Wednesday, listen to USL Super League Game Week, a deep dive into all things Super League, with hosts Marion Crowder and Anna Whitty. Follow along all season on the Sirius XM app.
What a great show that is. Anna and Marion had me cracking up their last episode. They do a good job with it, just getting to the depths of the league and giving us that insider look that not everyone can have access to.
And of course, you can hear them on some of these broadcasts as well throughout the season on Peacock. That's a reset for Kelsey Hill and for Brooklyn as well, as they continue to try to push forward. The other game going on also on Peacock, still Fort Lauderdale 1, Spokane 0. They're approaching halftime in South Florida as we speak. It could be a chance for Pluck to move the Brooklyn attack forward, but Shepard is able to get it out of harm's way for Lexington. We're still in pursuit of an equalizer. Now then, another good ball played up ahead. Yapel plays it in for George, but Mackenzie George is in an offside position, and obviously anything after that is a moot point.
That's a tight play right there, and you can tell that George was waiting. She's trying to bend her run and trying to get that timing, and we may even do a check on it.
I think the yellow card came out from the referee. And I think it was for Mackenzie George kicking the ball into the net and delaying a restart.
Don't forget, right? The offside flag goes up by the linesman. It doesn't mean that play has stopped. The play doesn't stop until the ref blows the whistle, even though she's in the offside position, whether she is or not. Flag goes up, you have to wait for the whistle, and play usually continues on, so I don't know. I would say not. If I'm George, I'm not happy that that's how I'm getting a yellow card, let me tell you that much. If that's the case, I'm really just gonna pound the ball in the back of the net next time.
Well, it's a yellow card nonetheless, and George's reaction would maybe lead to what you may have been thinking there, Christine.
A little unnecessary, I guess, is probably. It's not like the game's been out of hand. The referees, they've done a good job all game.
I will say, overall, around the beautiful game, I will say that that has been more of a point of emphasis recently, is delaying the restarts. Early ball in by Gravias. Oh, Garziano is going to find the back of the net for Brooklyn. Well, she only needed a touch to slide it past Cox and double Brooklyn's delight here in Kentucky. It's Garziano's 4th goal of the season, and Brooklyn has a 2-0 lead.
We've talked about the different goal scorers that Brooklyn has, and Jess Garziano, just another one of these. What a great ball in. She's so shifty. She can play with her left foot or her right foot. Right there, just able to get that little touch and get it by Cox.
Well, those 4 goals now for Garziano, joint team leader for Brooklyn. And as we approach the hour mark, the league leaders are looking to strengthen their position.
Substitution for Brooklyn FC.
And while that happened, Brooklyn made a substitution. Emily Yapel is out. Isabel Cox, who scored the winner the last time these two got together in September, is on for Brooklyn here, and she's on the ball immediately. Tried to cut it in field. Lexington stopper.
That's Brooklyn just showing their depth as well, right? You have a player like Cox who's on the bench, who's a quality forward as well. She's able to score at will, and now you put her in almost as that super sub.
30 minutes to go, and the hill that Lexington had to climb at halftime has turned into a mountain. We talked with both coaches this week, and Jess Silva, one of the things we talked about with her was their point of emphasis for road performances. Obviously at home, they've been almost unstoppable this season, but Jess Silva talked about how that has become more and more of a discussion in and around the training ground, and I'm sure through an hour of play, she has to be just about where she wants them right now. It's gone pretty much according to plan, and that's why Mike Dickey is making a couple of changes here to try and change things up. Winter is going to come out, and Kaylee Utley is going to take her place. Moyer will exit as well, and it's going to be Kimberly Mendez who comes on. It's a double swap for Lex Sporting.
Substitutions for Lexington SC. Number 2, Kaylee Utley.
I've talked to different coaches around the league, and they all agree, you know, it's tough for the travel, right? Especially when you're going one coast to the other coast, right? But it's also part of their job of being a professional footballer, right? That's part of the game, that's part of the gig, that's part of the job. But if you could get your team, like Jess Silva is, to perform on the road, it makes it very, very tough, especially as we get into this spring part of the season.
For Lexington Sporting Club, still have not won a home game to this point in the season. And again, we were talking briefly off air, still a long way to go in this USL Super League season, but that is something that Mike Dickey and his side are going to have to address, whether it's tonight or at some point down the road. They host DC Power next week before we get into the break. So there's going to be plenty of Lex Sporting opportunities to get that first win under their belts at home. The longer that takes, the bigger the gap is going to be between them and, of course, the top 4, which is required to make the first ever USL Super League playoffs.
And at what point does Lexington kind of make more drastic changes? And, you know, it's tough. They're not a bad team by any means. They're scoring goals. They're getting the job somewhat done. They're not getting blown out. It's nothing like that. But you can tell they just need to connect a little bit. They need to increase their possession. Defensive pressure, I think, is good. Like Sydney Shepard just holding it down in the back. Now can she intercept that pass and go forward with it and feed someone like Shin running up the flanks?
Here comes Brooklyn. This is Mackenzie George. It's deflected, and it is going to go just wide and out of play. It's a Brooklyn corner on the far side after a good run to set that up by Garziano.
Yeah, they're all playmakers. That's the thing. They're all playmakers and they're all goal scorers. You're going to key up Jess Garziano and George, and then all of a sudden you just have Gravias there just waiting in the wings. It's just unbelievable the amount of attacking players that they have.
Gravias got the assist on the Garziano finish earlier in the half. Again, it's going to be a short corner routine. And it's clipped towards the back stick. Is it going to be kept in play? Yes, just about, by Kelsey Hill. Lexington, however, are going to emerge with possession. And they'll get a free kick as well after a good run and recovery by Autumn Weeks.
I like that decision of the short corner, though. There was only one Lexington defender out there. Your automatically numbers up 2-on-1. You're going to get closer to the goal and should be able to set up a good combo play to get a shot off.
Just to add on to your earlier point as well, Christine, it seems like every coach talks about this in the Super League, and it's tough to have a sustained period, especially the one that Brooklyn has right now, a chance to win 5 in a row, because the competition level was high to begin with, and it's getting higher and higher every week, which is going to make it tough for teams towards the bottom of the table like Spokane, like DC, like Lexington. It's going to be tough to make up those games because it's so hard in this league to put a run together, because every week you're facing a very tough team, and it really just goes to show how impressive this Jess Silva Brooklyn run has been of late.
Every coach has just talked about, I asked every single coach, what is your opinion so far of the Super League? Every single coach has said it is so competitive.
Yeah.
So competitive from top to bottom.
Lexington have a chance here. Can they get one back? Good ball in by Shinnon at the back stick. It's just out of reach, and the offside flag makes it a moot point. It's a Brooklyn free kick. Another missed opportunity for Lexington, and Brooklyn will play it out. As we remind you, of course, that in the aftermath of both Hurricanes Helene and Milton, the USL has partnered with United Way Suncoast to help the Tampa Bay area recover from the devastation the storms left behind. To learn more about how you can get involved, scan the QR code or go to uslsoccer.com/Milton to ensure individuals and families have the access to resources they need to recover. Nice ball ahead by Scarpelli. Maybe one too many dribbles from Gravias, although the play is allowed to continue on. Lexington not happy with that decision. Although in the end, Perez is there on the cover for Lexington, does very well. And it's a goal kick, although Mike Dickey and his staff maybe thought there should have been a foul in there.
Yeah, I think so. But it's the same thing, right? We've seen Gravias do this before. One of her goals of the hat trick, right? She might have, had a little love tap to a defender, but you gotta keep playing, right? You keep playing until you hear the whistle. The thing with her, she's so, her short stature, she's so strong, right, with the ball. She's hard to take down. So she's gonna be the one that stays up. And then you put the technique that she has with the ball on her foot, and that's what makes her so hard to stop.
Yeah, we were briefly talking earlier about there's going to be extra attention on Luana Gravias tonight. Well, she's already picked up an assist here in the second half and has continued to make a positive impact on this Brooklyn side.
With no sign of stopping either.
Yeah. This ball is clipped up ahead. Parsons will give chase, but it is well shepherded along by Hill. Purcell is able to clear it. And Brooklyn will also get the throw in just in front of Jess Silva. And again, a chance for Brooklyn not only to pick up a 5th consecutive win, but a chance to go 5 points clear at the top of the table with one game before the break still to come. Here is Mackenzie George, scored the first goal for Brooklyn. Tries to set up another and will settle for another corner on the far side of the pitch.
Brooklyn just seems to have so much time and space. They're doing a good job. They're sticking to the game plan, right? Which was switching the ball, switching the fields, and getting it out to the flanks. That's where the open space is.
And as per usual, Kroger will take the corner. It's going to go into the penalty area this time. A chance for a header in there. And Lexington get it away before Kelsey Hill had a chance to head that on target.
Hill might have mistimed this just a little bit because I feel she was there. And it almost just went by her.
Looked like it was Nayoung Shin who ended up getting a big defensive touch onto that to help Lexington's cause. And we tick down to the final 20 minutes plus stoppage time with Brooklyn firmly in control here. Garziano around the corner, tried to find Grabias. Scarpelli follows up. Again, Shin scoops it and keeps it in play. And then Shin has more work to do here. As does Lexington as a whole. Brooklyn continue to be relentless here, and they win the ball back again. Cox this time. Plays it centrally for Pluck. Grabias looking for George. It was just a little bit too far behind her. And Lexington will clear that relentless Brooklyn play, as good as it was in the first minute.
You gotta love the combo play that they have, right? Those combination plays. Now we're seeing, instead of just give and goes, it's a give and go, and then they're getting the third offensive player involved and just pinging it around the Lexington defenders.
George out to the far side. It's a lovely little give and go again. George is also able to keep it past the Perez challenge. And then George is finally caught up to by Mackin, but Mackin gives the ball away. It's still Mackenzie George, and the shot is blocked away. And now Pluck tried to lift it towards the target. Again, it wasn't far away. And it ends up being a goal kick for Lexington. And before it's taken, Lexington are going to make another substitution here. It looks like that is going to be the end of the night for Autumn Weeks. And she will be replaced by Grace Wisniewski. During this change, we can also tell you that West 6th Brewing is a proud partner of Lexington Sporting Club. Dynamic taproom locations all throughout the state of Kentucky for you to enjoy. And enjoy West 6th locally crafted beers for all of your adventures, including a Stadium Ale, the official craft beer of Lexington SC, at all home games or at your favorite retailers around Lexington. You gave a cheers in the first half. I'll give you a slancha in the second half.
I'll raise you with a prost.
Offside flag is raised on the far side, and it goes back to Lexington with 18 minutes to go.
And you see the difference there, right? Lexington makes the pass and stands.
Yeah.
Brooklyn makes the pass, cuts behind the defenders, and that enables the give and goes, right? As soon as you do a give and go, you've eliminated that defender, which should in turn make you numbers up going towards that final third.
Nice play there by Parsons, able to play that in behind. And then in the end, it's really well recovered by Sam Kroger, who cuts it away from McGuire. Brooklyn just continue to check all the boxes at the moment, but they have a player down here at the tail end of the sequence. Looked like it might have been Pantuso who needed a moment here for the visitors. Holding onto her midsection as she trots back into position. Now can Lexington, with the ball at this end of the pitch, can they create something here? And well, it's easier said than done against arguably the best defense we have in the USL Super League to this point. And again, Brooklyn handled it cleanly. Can they move it up the field? Not quite this time. Times tonight, obviously we've been talking about things that Lexington has to work on. A lot of teams, I'm sure, and both coaches gave us a little insight into this, will use the break to do some of these things they need to do to improve and practice and get better. Teams will, of course, have their players spend time with family members and things like that as well, as Brooklyn will make a double change here.
Substitutions for Brooklyn FC.
Dana Sheriff and Hope Breslin are both going to come on.
8, Dana Sheriff replacing number 23.
Looks like Pluck is going to leave us. And Grabias
and number 12
is also going to be withdrawn for Brooklyn. So that leaves Brooklyn with 2 changes remaining. And Lexington have just the one with just over 15 minutes plus stoppages to go here on Peacock. And from the restart, Shin has it bounce into the penalty area. Parsons tried to shoot it from outside the penalty area, and it rainbows out of play. Of course, you could join us at the next home match for Lexington. It's Saturday, December 14th. Ladies in green from Lexington Sporting Club will take on DC Power. We talked about it earlier. It's a 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Just secure your seats today and continue to support Lexington SC, beg your pardon. And of course, you can watch the game here on Peacock. And then, like we talked about earlier, all the teams will go in for their winter breaks. Both Jess Silva and Mike Dickey gave us a little bit of an insight into that, and there's going to be plenty of time for the players to go back home and have time with their family and friends and things of that nature. But then there's going to be a workout program and other things put in place to keep the players up to speed during the break. And then before you know it, in February, of course, we'll be right back after it.
Right back at it. Figure most of these people most of the girls reported to preseason in June, and they haven't had time to go home and see families or whatnot. Again, this is a job. This is women's professional soccer.
Long distance shot there is going to be held by the goalkeeper, Sarah Cox, on the attempt by Sheriff, who just came in and wants to get warm. Of course, Sheriff has also scored a pair of Super League goals so far this season for Brooklyn. Garziano and company continuing to put the pressure on Lexington almost no matter where they have it on the park, and they get it back again right on cue. Still a lot of time left, but Jess Silva's side have checked all the boxes tonight. For so much of the season, Carolina Ascent was sort of the team that everyone was going after. They had that long 11-game unbeaten run. Brooklyn not afraid to take the torch from them and really make a statement at the top of the Super League table. They're about 13 minutes away from doing that.
Brooklyn, I feel like, almost had a late start to the season as well. They didn't have games those first few weeks, getting everybody over, getting everybody into form. And now, I mean, they've just, since Coach Silva arrived here, I mean, she has just done wonders with the team.
It really feels like her DNA is right through the heart of this Brooklyn side, and they're back on the attack again. Scarpelli into the middle, it's touched along and just touched out of the reach of the arriving Hope Breslin. It's out for a corner.
Brooklyn had a lot of open players in the box here. She could have picked out a few different ones. 1, 2, 3, 4 Brooklyn players in the box ready to score.
Lexington just about dealt with that, but they have another set piece upcoming. from the corner. Well, we have had an Olympico in the Super League this season. That wasn't a million miles away. Goal kick is the outcome. Well, the inaugural USL Super League season well underway. Visit the USLSuperLeague.com for all the latest info, analysis, insight, and more into all things Super League.
Nice ball.
Is the offside flag going to go up? Yes, is the answer. Mary-Kate McGuire caught off after what was, again, a promising bit of build-up from the hosts.
It was a nice idea by Lexington. Nice diagonal ball over the top of the defenders.
Here comes Brooklyn. George up the other end. Handball appeals come in from the Brooklyn players. Goal, I should say corner kick, is the decision. I think it may have been outside the penalty area, but the referee didn't call it, so a set piece is upcoming. Every time Brooklyn get the ball right now, they look very, very dangerous. Kroger to take. Brooklyn have kind of gone away from those short corners that we saw earlier. They go back to it here. And it's clipped into the penalty area, and Cox has to parry it over the top, and it's out for another corner.
What a strike. I've talked about the mismatch here being numbers up. Instead of going back, she goes straight for the shot, and I tell you, Cox is so good in the air. Other goalkeepers, that ball's going in. She could be up for another save for December, right?
She's
save of the month in December.
They have actually parried it off the bar as well. How many times have we seen the ball hit the frame tonight? And Brooklyn could have a chance here. Oh, miscommunication as it nearly fell for Breslin, who didn't get it away cleanly on the shot. Played in behind for Garziano to work with. And the cross into the middle is really well placed, but Lexington have enough green shirts behind it for now. Scarpelli follows up. Lexington clears. Brooklyn will reset with 9 minutes plus stoppage time to go.
Just so many offensive threats for Brooklyn. You can try and key on one, try to stop one. It really doesn't matter. There's just so many others that can score.
You pair that up with just 8 goals conceded in the Super League so far for Brooklyn. That's the fewest in the league. They are looking very strong at the top of the table right now as Mackenzie George marauds forward again, finds Scarpelli for a first-time cross. That lands onto the roof of the net.
We'll take another look at this, and George set in that nice through ball, right? As defense, you never want to be split from your center back and your wing back. You've got to stay more compact. George able to thread the needle there, get that pass through for a shot.
Shin tried to get a little give and go working with Parsons. Again, Brooklyn snuff it out. Hill all the way back to Purcell, who hasn't really been called upon as much in the second half, certainly compared to some of the saves she had to make in the first half. Remember, Lexington had 7 shots in total in the first half, and they've not been able to muster up as many, to say the least, here in the second half, but credit has to be given to Brooklyn for that.
Got to figure out, right? You crediting Brooklyn's defense or Lexington's lack of offense and lack of possession? I think it's almost a little bit of both playing into tonight's game.
The other thing, too, that Jess Silva will be harping on is, can Brooklyn keep a 6th clean sheet? They have 5 coming into the night, which is the second most in the USL Super League. Scarpelli threading it through. Scarpelli's quick feet keeps it going for Brooklyn on the near side. Kroger. Out wide by Pantuso. Brooklyn, of course, are now going to use some of their own patience here. Not in any hurry. Scarpelli, of course, rattled the corner of the frame in the first half with a rocket. And she moves forward here. Oh, an advantage could have been played for Brooklyn there. George had actually escaped the challenge by Shin, who's going to be booked and receive a yellow card for holding back the Brooklyn attack.
That might be the only way to stop George, right? Jumping on her back, grabbing her, and with a pin down. And she still didn't stop her.
Yeah, some of the yells were coming from the Brooklyn touchline. His advantage could have been played there to allow Brooklyn's attack to continue. But the referee brings it back. Again, Shin was booked. That yellow card is confirmed. But it doesn't take long for Brooklyn to get right back on the front foot on the far side. And the ball is played across. Garziano was the closest one to it in gray. But Lexington are able to head it away, and they'll get a free kick. Now, Mike Dickey, of course, has talked to us about how Lexington needs to play 90-minute games instead of 80-minute games. Brooklyn, no such trouble there.
And I'm not too sure how many minutes Lexington strung in today. I feel they played much better the first time they faced Brooklyn than they are today. Just struggling to find positive flow with the ball, right? It's just very choppy on their end, unable to connect with teammates, unable to make combo plays and really set yourself up for some offensive threats in that final third.
We talked about it earlier. Lexington potentially about to now go 6 home games without a win and 5 in a row without a win in the league. As a change will be made here, this is McGuire who is coming out, and Corey Sullivan is going to take her place. That is the last change that Mike Dickey can make tonight. And of course, no surprise, it's an attacking change. Lexington running short on time. Have to score twice in 4 minutes plus stoppage time. It's touched up ahead towards George. Lexington again will have Cox send this forward. The hold-up play there by Johnson, who is able to feather this over the top, but again, and this has kind of been the story in the second half for Lexington, Kaylee Utley this time is caught offside. And that'll lead to a Brooklyn change here. Mackenzie George, who maybe doesn't want to come out.
She's having too much fun.
Is going to be taken out, and she did have a lot of fun tonight.
She sure did. So she's involved in everything here. Great shot here. Able to put it through the defender's leg, which means the goalkeeper cannot see it until it's too late. And I tell you, all night, have the celebration. All night she was attacking players, taking them on. She gets up and down the flank. Just a hard-working player, and she brings so much to this Brooklyn squad.
Well, George gets a richly deserved rest and is replaced by Kess Elmore for Brooklyn. And that leaves Jess Silva with just 1 change remaining. And a free kick for Lexington, and the ball is kicked away. That's definitely the delay of a restart there. Cass Elmore, who just came on as well. That might have been her first touch. She's into the book.
She wants to get involved.
Now the theme of trying to stay warm on a cold Lexington night continues.
Brooklyn FC number 10, Cass Elmore in the 88th minute.
Well, Jess Silva may have partially withdrawn Mackenzie George because she was on a yellow. And now the player that she brings on quickly gets into the referee's book as well. And again, Lexington, some promising moments there, but again, no definitive build-up play. It's cut out. And now can Brooklyn move this up the other end? Lovely ball out to the far side by Garziano. Sheriff assesses the scene, had a couple of players in the middle to aim for, and then did try to cross it, blocked away by Madison Perez for the moment. Of course, Brooklyn don't have to go for the jugular here. But they do get a ball into the penalty area, and it's nudged out of play by Isabel Cox. I'll stay up to date with the USL Super League by signing up for the Super Newsletter. Get news about your favorite team and stories from around the league delivered directly to your inbox weekly. Sign up at uslsuperleague.com/newsletter. Good thing to have, of course, with the break coming up as well, to stay up to date on everything happening, even when there aren't games going on. Still a couple of weeks to go for that, of course. We're into the 90th minute here in Kentucky, and Scarpelli, not the best of clearances there. Utley out to the far side. Parsons is able to get there. Parsons down the line for Sullivan. And it is going to be cleared out of play. It's a Lexington corner on the far side. And Lexington corners today are presented by Commonwealth Credit Union. Well, this is where Perez tends to shine for Lexington. Still stoppage time to go if Lexington can make the most of this opportunity. Albeit only 2 minutes, it appears, of stoppage time to go. So this has to go in for Lexington to stay alive. And it's punched out by Purcell in traffic. Perez gets a second chance to provide the service. And it's headed away by Hill this time.
The fourth official has indicated there'll be a minimum of 2 minutes.
Elmore able to help get in the way. Utley recovers. Ball's clipped to the edge of the penalty area. Shepard was trying to get in the mix, and I think Scarpelli may have been fouled away from the ball by Parsons. It's a free kick that'll just about get Brooklyn over the line.
And Lexington just serving the balls into the mixer there, but nobody really there to win it. Brooklyn doing a good job just being the first ones to it. Any of those air balls, they've come up and won them.
Lexington win the ball back as we enter the final minute. Oh, and it's a takeaway here. Brooklyn will slide in behind, a chance to put the cherry on top. Dana Sheriff seals all 3 Brooklyn points in Kentucky tonight. It's her 3rd Super League goal. It's Brooklyn's 3rd goal tonight. And Brooklyn FC will be 5 points clear at the top of the USL Super League table after a superb performance tonight.
Just another Brooklyn goal scorer, another offensive threat, and this time it comes from playing defense, like taking candy from a baby. She's off and into the races one-on-one with Cox. An excellent finish here, just off, kissing it off the post and in.
How fitting is it that Brooklyn have had 3 different goal scorers tonight, and this deep, hungry side in Brooklyn FC just continue to be relentless, and they're going to win their 5th straight game in the USL Super League, their 8th overall.
Relentless, I think, is a good word for them, especially this game. They have not let up offensively or defensively. They've kept up their defensive pressure. They forced Lexington exactly where they'd want to go, and it's not the forwards that are winning the ball. It's the midfielders, and they've been taking advantage on those counterattacks.
5-star performance from Jess Silva's side tonight. They win it by 3-0, and they are 5 points clear at the top of the USL Super League on 26 points with their 8th win of the season and their 5th win in a row. For Lexington, it's now 5 in a row without a win and 6 in a row at home without a win as well. Really, really impressive from Brooklyn FC tonight. We'll have a chance to step aside for the moment here on Peacock, but don't go anywhere. We will recap this one next as Brooklyn celebrations rule the night tonight here in Lexington. 3-0 is the final score. Sean St. Jacques, Christine Huber, our entire crew welcoming you back. Post-game here on Peacock. A really impressive all-around performance from Brooklyn. They win here in Kentucky by 3-0. We have a chance now to recap this one with our full-time match highlights. And, well, we're going to see a lot of these kind of moments. Brooklyn on the attack.
A lot of Brooklyn moments for sure. And this is George right here doing what she loves to do, taking on players. Sometimes she gets the assist. This time she chose to take it herself and score that goal.
That was in the 13th minute. It was a wonderful table-setting kind of moment for Brooklyn. Celebrations ruling the night for them and Jess Silva's group, and it carried over into the second half.
Yeah, and Garziano, she's able to eventually get this ball here, and this is another goal coming off of Brooklyn's defense. Their counterattack, a good ball in. She is such a shifty forward that she can score with her left or right foot and mix it up in different finishes.
Fourth goal of the season, tied for the team lead for Brooklyn after a really clever finish to touch it past Sarah Cox, who did get a piece on it to be fair, but it rolls into the back of the net. That made it 2-0 to Brooklyn just about on the hour. Grabias got the assist, and then the substitute, Dana Sheriff, put a cherry on top.
Here we see it again, right? It's defense turned into offense. That high pressure, she's able to take that ball, make the move, and it's just one-on-one with the goalkeeper there, and a nice little kiss off the post to put it in.
All in all, a brilliant Brooklyn performance. 5 wins in a row, 5 points clear at the top of the USL Super League table. Full-time stats look like this. Lexington had only 1 second half shot in total. Brooklyn really impressive and at times dominant as well.
Lexington looked so much better in the first half, kind of lost it a little bit in the second half. They slowed down their pace, but credit Brooklyn, credit their defense, credit that back 3 triangle standing strong and getting their 6th shutout of the year.
That's now tied for the most clean sheets in the league with Carolina Ascent. Brooklyn just continuing to impress around the USL Super League. Well, in the end, nothing under the tree for the Elves in Lexington here tonight. Still a lot to work on for Lexington SC, but Jess Silva's Brooklyn were mightily impressive tonight, and they win it by 3-0 to strengthen their position at the top of the USL Super League table. For Christine Huber and our entire crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques. We say so long from Kentucky. Really impressive tonight from the league leaders.